Hi folks, and welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. I'm Sean.
And I'm Corrine.
And where are we headed today?
We're on a big adventure. We are going up the Alpine Loop from Ouray, Colorado, which takes us up Mineral Creek. And then we have a choice of Cinnamon Pass or Engineer Pass.
It should be a fairly great trip. We're looking forward to going up some more difficult roads. We just finished airing down, which will help going up this trail. According to Crean, the first part of the trail is the hardest, and it should get easier once we get off Mineral Creek and onto either Cinnamon Pass or Engineer Pass. Our trip started in Ouray, and we headed up the $1 Million Road, or Highway 550. It's a relatively quick way to get there. Mineral Creek is only a few miles down the road. It's a little slower if you happen to get behind one of these guys, though.
Our first part of the trail will be up a fairly steep slope, bit rocky. This is a narrow road, not much in the way of places to pass, but being in the morning, we shouldn't have too many people coming on the downhill side yet, so hopefully we won't have to pass any traffic. And we will hit some rocky patches and some steep patches, so let's see how it goes.
Didn't go far up the road before I was already parking to have a look at a old mining facility.
We've come about 1.5 miles from our starting point on the Ouray side of the Alpine Loop, and this is the Mickey Breen mine. There's a little parking spot up near the top of this hill. You can just make out our Jeep parked there. And here's the lower part of the mining operation. This was probably for sorting the ore or doing stamp mill. Falling into disarray now. Here's a little upper parking lot where we can pull off to learn more about the Mickey Breen mine.
The mine facilities are currently undergoing a restoration, and they're asking people to stay off the area. It's probably a wise thing to do anyway, because it looks pretty unstable. I'd hate to be the guy that actually falls through.
Here comes a tricky corner. You're gonna come up to a pretty sharp turn in a minute.
Okay. After we left the mine, the Mickey Breen mine, the road becomes more narrow and gradually becomes more and more technical as you're going up the hill. It's not super bad at this point, but we're about to get into a very, very narrow part of the road, and of course, that's where we're going to meet our first vehicle coming the other way. So, this is a back up and go up this side. We're going to be pretty off camera, so don't panic. I know that's going to happen.
Car. Oh, he's got room to pull over. There's a hole there.
These are the first trucks we'd actually have to pass on a trail. There's going to be lots and lots more over the next few days of running up the various trails. These guys were great. They basically backed into a space that I'd get around them real easily. I'm just giving them time to get themselves organized. Crean decided that the spot just to the right of the first vehicle, our right of the first vehicle, was pretty narrow, so she decided she wanted to make sure I could pass without getting into trouble. So she insisted on going up and making sure that it was going to work. Just didn't want to make sure I clipped you as I went by.
No problem. Any behind you?
No, just me.
Okay, thank you.
Karina and I made it past these fellows just fine. They were, again, very helpful by getting over to the side. I am the uphill vehicle, so I do have the right of way, and they were terrific at respecting that. Once we got over those first couple obstacles, we end up on a shelf road. As you can see, it's one of those ones where the rock goes straight up on the driver's side and goes pretty much straight down on the passenger side. It was a pretty straightforward stretch. It's not particularly bumpy, or there's not any significant obstacles on it. The only real issue is if you happen to run into somebody coming down the other way. But I can't imagine is coming down here in the horse and cart in the wintertime. Driving up this canyon is absolutely beautiful. However, if you don't like shelf roads, this is definitely not the place to be. In fact, I have to say that in general, going up into the mountains and running the trails on the Alpine Loop are probably not something you'd really enjoy if you really don't like heights, and especially heights that are immediately adjacent to the vehicle. But we enjoyed this just fine, and it was really not an issue to go up this road. So we're still working our way up through Mineral Creek, or on Mineral Creek. It's a very, very pretty drive. We've already had to pass a couple vehicles, so we've heard that practice already. So far it's more bouncy than anything else. There's a couple spots where you have to be pretty careful about where you put your tires, but really other than that, so far it has been just fine, actually. I'm driving in 4 low, but I'm not using either of my lockers and haven't really needed them for any reason. Karine, I think, is Peter Pants twice so far. Mostly because she thinks I'm going to drive off the edge.
Yeah, I'm on the downside.
Yeah, she's on the side that, goes first if we get too close to the edge. In general, other than a few of the bigger rocks that we've had to do a little bit of wheel placement, this has actually not been any worse than many other little roads that we've run up into the mountains. So so far it's not really been all that bad at all. Although we seem to be at a place right now where we've kind of got a bit of a reprieve. Yep. After the first mile or so, which is probably so far, I would call it a gatekeeper. It's been the hardest piece so far, and this piece in the middle is more just kind of a nice drive, really.
And then you get another exciting part.
Karine says I got more excitement coming, so that could be fun. I should note these places in case I have to back out.
Goes down deep.
Okay, we're coming up to a real little ditch here. It's more that it's a little waterfall here. Oh, it's really pretty. Coming up to a very rocky section. Whether I'm coming the hard way or the easy way. It's kind of hard to tell here. Karine says I'm coming the hard way. Next one is, do I go over the rock or do I inch up over the cliff?
Over the rock.
I'm going to be going over this rock, at least a little bit. Not quite so bad, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe
Now,
I'll go out and take a look over the other side.
yep. This is our first really significant obstacle. Looks like somebody's piled some rocks down there to make it a little easier. If you're actually wondering, I actually do understand the hand signals that Kareen's giving me. She's basically telling me where to place my tires, both the passenger and the driver tire. Now she's actually indicating what she wants me to do in terms of turning. I'm going to come up. So when you see me get out of the car like this is where Kareen and I are having maybe a little difference of opinion as to which way to go, and I want to discuss it with her. So I'm also trying to put some more rocks in the hole. What's not obvious is how big the hole is right in front of the first rock. And what I'm concerned about is getting my bumper hung up on that rock that is directly in front of me right now. So Kareen decided that she preferred to have a radio so that if anything unexpected or untoward happened as we were climbing up here, that we'd be able to communicate a little bit better. You should also know there's nobody behind me, so we can take all the time we want here.
Okay. You may have your tire come up off the ground a little bit as you do this last bump.
So I already have my sway bar released, which allow the front end to flex an awful lot.
Keep straight there. Keep straight. Okay, now turn to driver a little. Stop. You're not going to make it over that rock. We'll have to take the further left route.
And this is why we broke the radios out, so that if I did get hung up, she could tell me before I got seriously hung up.
Okay, so aim the right tire towards the big rock there. Straight up from there. Straight. Good. Keep climbing. Little bump. Okay, now you got the big rock on the passenger side. You're lined up good. Keep coming straight. Straight. Turn to driver a little. Straight. There. Keep coming. Power. Power. Good. Slow. Okay, you got a little bit of traction. Now come up. Turn a little to passenger. Good show. More passenger.
You did an excellent job. I didn't even bump anything.
No.
Except for my front bumper there when I first tried to go up the other side.
Yeah.
You got a water puddle next. It's a longish water puddle, but it's not
Shallow.
very deep. Clean my tires off. And we were back on a rocky, wet road for a while.
So we're still on the Mineral Creek route, and we've now come to a junction where the lower road goes down to Poughkeepsie Gulch, which is a rated difficult, and the upper route heads up there to Engineer Mountain, and that, once we get up there, will give us a choice of either Cinnamon Pass or Engineer Pass. But first, Sean has to come up here, and we got a nice, fairly easy route around this side to take a nice big swing.
And I have to make kind of an interesting maneuver around this corner here, and then up essentially a rock face. And Korean is going to help me get up that so that I don't do anything goofy. She's a really excellent spotter, by the way. She seems to have a really good understanding of what the vehicle's going to do. And she seems to also understand what I can clear and what I can't clear, which is really useful. You see her out here photographing and videoing the entrance. And that was the thumbs up to start up the hill.
Ready when you are. Come towards me.
I realize that Karina and I probably seem a little bit more timid and take a lot more precautions than some of you rock crawlers. However, our vehicle is quite heavy, having the Harker camper on the back, and we're more fitted out for overlanding and some slightly difficult roads. But we don't do a lot of rock climbing in this vehicle, and we really want to make sure we don't break it. Just barely making that corner. And now I'm just going to start up the rock face. The first bit of this actually looks a lot more gnarly than it actually is. It's just really off camber. It's really the issue. Just going to let Crane get out in front of me. Turns out there's actually a bypass for this. I didn't actually realize that. Just waiting for Crane to tell me to come ahead.
Okay, come straight towards me. A little bit to driver. I'll get a look around the corner.
Sounds like a great idea. Green's actually just looking around the corner for vehicles coming down, because these are pretty blind corners here.
Come over this rock that I'm standing on with your driver tire. That's good, straighten. This is a bit of a challenge. You might want to get out and have a look.
About 10 feet in front of you is going to be my first real one. Yeah, the one you're pointing at.
A little more passenger. More passenger. Okay, straight. Driver. Turn driver, driver, driver. Your wheels up over it. Hold on. You'll be clear as you come up over it. Straighten up. Back tire's coming up. Okay, not too much driver yet. Straighten a little. Okay, hold on. Okay, a little bit forward and then driver. driver, driver. Okay, it's going to go off camber now. Okay, right here, your driver's side's going to start coming down. Good, good, good. Rear's coming up. Good, good. Straighten up, straighten. Okay, that's good. Little driver, yep. Your back is up over. Okay, hold on, slow. Okay, just take that slow. There you go. Straighten. Rear tire will go up. Good, you're over that. Driver. Okay, I'm going to spot this one out.
Yeah, I'm going to back up so I get a straighter shot. So the one I'm coming up to is a series of steps, and it's really a case of getting the driver's side up these steps.
So I think you're going to want to take this with your driver coming up this set of steps, passenger coming along here.
Okay, we'll give that a go.
Little to driver. Okay, here's your first step. Turn passenger now. Slow, slow. Good, you're clear. The rear is going to come over the rock now. Slow, slow.
Other than a bit bumpy, the road was pretty straightforward here for about another mile or so as we continued to make our way up in elevation.
Turn a little bit to the passenger.
This fellow here was coming down the trail, and he caught us at a very narrow spot, and he refused to back up the trail, so consequently Karina and I backed down the trail. Unfortunately, this won't be the last time we'll be backing down a trail, and in fact, this case, we actually have to back down an obstacle we had just come up.
Stay straight. Little passenger. Straight. Straight. You're looking good. Come straight. Okay, passenger. Straight. Okay, back up another foot.
You just keep coming.
Just stay there, Sean. Stay there, Sean. Gonna have to come down a little bit on driver. Driver. Now straight.
Gentleman said there's a bit of an obstacle around this corner.
Okay, you're taking a bit of an off-camber route. Go straight. Go straight. Now turn passenger. driver. You're coming too fast for me.
Was pretty much the end of the difficult part of the trail. The rest of it was a pretty smooth gravel road that took us up to the connection between Engineer Pass and Cinnamon Pass, or the road actually that connects them. So we've made it to the top of the Mineral Creek Trail, and we've hit a sign that says Alpine Loop, which is a good thing. We're parked here at an area that has a pit toilet, and Crean's just deciding on where we're going next. So we'll just have to see what she says here in a minute. We are now at the Alpine Loop. As we head down, I think, towards Cinnamon Pass, we are on a scree bed, and it's a very narrow shelf road. It was no big deal. It was nice and smooth. So we're working our way down the hill. I haven't got the video pointed, the camera pointed in the other direction because it is raining like crazy, and it won't focus. So we just passed the sign for Cinnamon Pass, but we decided not to go up it quite yet. Instead, we're going to head down towards Animas Forks, and which is a cool little ghost town. Go visit the little ghost town because the rain has let up, and it's time to get out and walk around a little bit. So we're coming down the road into Animas Forks. It's a old ghost town, mining area. Looks really pretty cool, actually. It's very well preserved, and by the look of the number of vehicles, quite popular. So here we are parked at Animas Forks, looking down the valley. Absolutely beautiful down there. We're going to take a little walk around the buildings here at Animas Forks and have a look-see what the buildings are and what's left of them.
I believe this is known as the Hip Roof House. Not sure of the reason for that name, maybe because of the way the shingles are done. Some of the buildings have open doors and you can come inside and do a tour about. The front entry we came in, a fireplace to the left, another room off the back, and if you keep going there's a back door.
Some neat views from these old buildings. You can see the mine workings up on the hill there, and another house just to the left-hand side. This is building number 4, and it's Gus Lay's son's house. Could you imagine walking out your front door or sitting on your porch, and that's your view? Absolutely gorgeous. Of course, in 1875, 1876 winter, they had 27 feet of snow, which would be taller than most of these buildings. So that would have been an interesting time. This is building number 3. It's a little bit of a shack. The door is open for this. Be a very small living space. Yep. Not much of a, you're like a bed and a chair. Look at these hinges. I don't know when they were put up. They got beautiful patterns on them. I'm not sure what number this building is, but it's beside building number 3. It has a dirt floor in it now, and 2 very closely put together doors, which we thought was odd. The other thing, too, is this is the one that has the really interesting hinges on the doors. Must have been the prosperous family in town, because once they started building the building, they continued to build onto the building, probably as a result of a growing family.
This house starts with a fairly small cabin, and then it got extended into more and more additions built further back. Part of the floor back here is on quite a slope. And then this connector has a dirt floor.
So the prospectors will find out here.
A little annex to get from one spot to the next. And another room back here.
So the prospectors were by no means the first people here. First people were the Ute, and I'm not going to pronounce the second name, Nuche people. I'll butcher that. I don't want to do that. But they were here long before the settlers came. There's quite a lot of evidence from their stone tools and some pottery. They were a very large nation. They occupied parts of Colorado, Utah, northern Mexico, and Arizona. So there's quite a few of them here at one time. This sprawling house is building number 2. So I'm standing on the porch of the Duncan house, looking down the valley. Again, an absolutely sensational view. Would have been absolutely beautiful. Duncan, when he built this house, was only 27 years old. Although we have to remember that in that age, in that time, 27 was getting into middle age. So he was actually getting up there. So we're just starting to drive out of Animas Forks. And the view down the valley here is absolutely spectacular. It's one of the prettiest views I think I've ever seen. We're now starting to head up the hill onto Cinnamon Pass. And this little section is a bit gnarly. Lots of kind of little rocks and quite narrow, with a steep drop off on the passenger side. So Crean's leaning in as we go up. I am in 4-wheel drive low, and my sway bar is disconnected, which makes it a lot more comfortable. My front tires are aired down to 14 psi, and my rear tires, which carry a little more weight, are aired down to 18 psi. And that has seemed to have been just the ticket today for getting up these roads. And we get the chance to do a little bit of off-camber bit. Mostly these roads have been just really bumpy and rocky. They haven't been too terrifying, at least so far. This is a bit of a shelf road, which, if you don't like shelf roads, would be absolutely terrifying. But if you don't mind them too much, then it's really never mind. It's actually a fairly good road, just a little rocky and bumpy. My understanding is that once we get to the top, the road improves significantly. We're getting into a really tight shelf road here. It's not one of those deals where you want to see anybody coming down against you. Got into a spot where there's some really pretty light on the top of the hill here. We saw quite a few of these guys playing along the side of the road. They were quite busy and quite unafraid of us. And we're just coming up to Cinnamon Pass.
High point, 12,615 feet. Just pull over there for a second.
I'm going to park right here.
Yep. Excellent.
Just like that.
There's a sign identifying that we're at an elevation of 12,640 feet at Cinnamon Pass. And now we'll start heading back downhill. This route The Cinnamon Pass route is going down toward Lake City, but we will probably find a campsite somewhere along the route here and enjoy some camping up in the mountains before we go down to Lake City. We've seen some marmots all on the roadside. It's an alpine tundra type vegetation here. And that direction is back down the way we came toward Animas Forks. Well, I guess sometime in the past there was some sort of sign on this post. Now it has become a sticker post. Everybody puts up a little sticker of who they are or where they've come from. Juan is adding one of our stickers up here. He decided to place it over the Bass Pro Shop. And there we are. Travels of Red Rover.
So here we are up at Cinnamon Pass. It's a beautiful view down both sides. Absolutely gorgeous. And we still have some snow up there. I'm glad it's up there and not down here. And that's the way down. That's where we'll be heading. So we gear back up again. We didn't stay at Cinnamon Pass for too long. It was getting pretty cold. So, and we were also interested in finding a campsite. So we started heading down the mountain towards Lake City. So before we got to the mountains and the Alpine Loop, I was fairly familiar with the idea that it would be shelf roads and there'd be some roads with some obstacles and also some fairly bumpy roads. The one thing I really didn't anticipate was just how sharp some of the hairpin turns are and the difficulty they might actually be in getting around. A number of times with the Gladiator, we found that it was just easier to take part of the turn back up and then continue to go. And this was certainly the case coming down from Cinnamon Pass, heading towards Lake City. The ones that were kind of the more difficult were the ones that tended to have a bit of an obstacle on them and the sharp turn into what was essentially a blind corner. So you really couldn't see if anybody was coming up at the same time as you were coming down. And then because you were working onto an obstacle, if you had to sort of back up around that corner, it was going to get really interesting. Here I'm actually backing up that little rock face, which turned out to be fine, but it was definitely a new experience for us.
Well, from where we started our odometer on the Cinnamon Pass Trail, not far from Animas Forks, Ghost Town, we come 5.2 miles, and we noticed this little signpost here on the right side of the road, showing a campsite with F5. Nothing indicates that it's a reserve site. It's a bit of a steep slope down, but there's no real significant bumps or gullies or anything. And coming down here gets you away from the traffic on the road. There's a big pine tree here, and then we're tucked in behind the pine tree. It's currently 4:15, so we thought it was a good time to find a camp, get set up. We haven't had any lunch other than some trail mix, so we're going to make something to eat and enjoy our evening here. Off in that direction is a beautiful view of the mountains in the distance.
Here's the view from tonight's campsite. We're all set up. Here, still up in the mountains. It's a beautiful spot. And if we come over here, Crean is cooking us dinner. It's going to be steak and asparagus. She's trying to figure out how to cook on an angle. It's not something she has to do very often. She's got this asparagus on already. And those steaks are all ready to go on after she gets the asparagus cooked.
No, once the oil's hot.
Oh, she's waiting. She's cooking some hot. She's getting some hot oil in the frying pan. What do I know? I just eat. Boy, that looks like it's going to be good. And I'm in her way. So we have a few more mosquitoes tonight in the camp, and we've set up our thermocell. This thing is amazing. We use it anytime there are mosquitoes, and especially works great if there's not much wind, and if we put up our little canopy. The other thing that we like to use are these little Coleman citronella boxes. The combination of the two really seems to eliminate any of the bugs. So, and it has already. I noticed that just sitting here under the canopy waiting for my dinner, there's virtually no bugs. And that's just terrific as far as I'm concerned. Well, there's dinner. And Kareen's got her dinner. And you see those nice weapons that we have to cut the steaks with. Those are incredible knives. They fold up. They're good for throwing.
Threatening your husband?
Threatening your husband.
After our little walk,
when he's
we got
being
the camper
bad.
all packed up.
Multi-use knives, I
and
think.
started to head down
Well,
the
the
road
sun
a
has
little
just
further,
come up.
looking
We
for
woke
our
up
next
to a
adventure.
cold but beautiful morning. The deer are down playing in the forest just in front of us here. Every once in a while, they stick their head out so we get a little peek at them, or they're getting a little peek at us. Green's going to making some bacon and eggs or sausage and eggs. I'm not exactly sure which, but that will be coming up fairly soon. Well, I was wrong about what was for breakfast. Turns out it's pancakes and bacon. Very yummy.
Our campsite is up there where there's that group of evergreens with a lot of dead trees up there. And we took a path down, mostly a deer path, and came to this little creek. This seems to be the watering hole for the local wildlife because we saw a lot of them come down here while we were sitting enjoying a after dinner coffee last night. They were a little surprised to find us in the campsite, so they were a little wary to pass us and come down to the creek, but they have a number of different trails and had no problem getting down here. Well, we've come down a few more miles from our campsite up on the Cinnamon Pass Trail. We're now about 15 miles from the main highway, where we'll connect and head to Lake City. We've come to a spot that's got a couple restrooms and a few hiking trails. This is Grizzly Gulch Trail to Handy's Peak and the Silver Creek Trail to Red Cloud and Sunshine Peaks. And there's a pretty good sized parking lot over there for people who are going to do some hiking. And there's also very well equipped restrooms, cleaned, and there's a cool old structure down this road. So we're going to take a closer look at these. Behind this wooden structure is the road up to Cinnamon Pass, and you can see some of the mountains there in the background on the right. As I walk to this side of the street road, you'll see some of the other mountain peaks up there. We had quite a few clouds this morning, but we're getting some sunny breaks now, which is appreciated. And then there's a secondary structure that's beside the main building. It looks like it was possibly a barn or shed, or maybe additional housing for a growing family. Got quite a bit of traffic here on a Friday afternoon in mid-August. All sorts of vehicles, Jeeps, side-by-sides, moto-bikes. There's pretty good signage here for the Red Cloud and Sunshine Peaks area and the trail going up to them. There's a nice map showing your current location, and there's also a cool photograph showing the three-dimensional view. They're also put up a sign looking for people's input on observations of bighorn sheep, and fire danger sign, no fires. There's also some signage here about butterfly habitat, because these open alpine areas have quite a few wildflowers that are great for the butterfly. This one's the frillatary butterfly, and it shows some of the common wildflowers. We've come to a little pull-off. We're about 11 miles, 11.2 miles from the beginning of the Cinnamon Pass Trail, and about 14, 16 miles from the beginning of the highway over on the Lake City side. We've got an overlook here. This is the former Sherman town site. Looks like it's mostly private land down there now. I don't see a lot of structures. I do see some trees down over there, and they seem to be clearing out some underbrush to reduce the fire hazard. Nice view of the mountains.
So we're taking a little detour to go see a ghost town. This is called Carson Road, and the ghost town's called what?
Carson.
Carson. So the ghost town's same as the road, and it's warning us that it's four-wheel drive past here, which seems reasonable. It's a pretty rugged little road. So this has been sort of the most off-roady road that we've been on since we were on Mineral Creek Road. Creek Trail. Yep. This is definitely a trail, not a road. And it's definitely a four-wheel drive road, although she's doing just fine going up it. It's very, very steep.
Lots of loose rocks.
Lots of loose rocks. Yeah, Green's absolutely right. Lots of loose rocks going up here. So far we haven't had to actually climb any obstacles or anything of that sort, so from that point of view it's not too bad. We're still going up. Oddly enough, much to our surprise, we met some traffic coming down. So that was interesting because this is really just barely wide enough for a vehicle. And fortunately, the first vehicle we ran into was a motorcycle, so it was easy to get by. But the next one was a big RZR, and he really didn't want to back up the hill, so it became quite a little maneuvering to get around him. Well, we got our first little water crossing. It's just a little stream, not much. The more difficult part is the low-hanging aspen trees that I have to sort of squeeze underneath. Fortunately, they're very flexible. So it looks like we've done 3 out of the 4 miles, and
Oh, look at the grader.
yeah, I found a big grader up here. That's interesting. Not something you expect to find on here, up here. He's been up here.
Yeah. Because he started at the top and he's working his way down.
Well, all of a sudden the road's gotten pretty good. I don't know how long this will last, but well, we are now driving along the ridge line. So we're on top of something. So Karina and I are at the Carson ghost town. Absolutely gorgeous view looking down the valley. And then if you walk over here a little bit, look up through the buildings, beautiful view going back up the valley to the mountain there. And then the road just keeps right on going. Probably up to that pass up there, it's probably about 12,000 feet, because we're at 11,500 feet right now. A little hard to breathe.
Well, we've come up to the Ouray Carson ghost town, Ouray Gulch, and we've stopped to have a look around. The roads keep going past here, but after 4 miles of that, I think we're probably going to just turn back and head the short way back. But if you were into exploring, you could find some more mountain passes to climb over. But these are some intact buildings pretty well. Windows and doors gone, but the walls and roofs are still pretty good shape. Up here on the higher elevation of the ghost town, there's a huge building. It looks like it was almost a multi-family dwelling or a community hall, but it does seem to have multiple rooms to it. There's a decent little creek coming down the hill here, so the town would have had a good source of water most of the year. It's got some good flow, not very deep, but you could probably harvest it because it's pretty steady.
So we're taking a little walk towards the mine tailings, and here's one big tailings pile right here. And Crean's walking down the road that way towards another tailings pile. Well, we walked down as far as another creek and found some of the constructed mine area. I'm not sure that this was, but there's all kinds of tailing piles all around us here. So it must have been where they were doing some processing and maybe some concentrating. That's what my guess would be. There are a lot of dead trees on this mountainside. And oh man, lots and lots of them. This would not be the place to be if a fire started. It'd be hard to get out, and those trees would go up like Roman canvas. So we managed to walk our way up to the top, and other than that beautiful view, this must have been quite an operation. They've got railroad tracks up here. They've got a lot of piping, lots of concrete slabs. So it would be a Pretty sizable operation in its day. Right now it's just a old, dilapidated building with a pretty pond and a beautiful view. Well, it's gone from a beautiful, bright, sunny day to a rainy day, although I think the rain is probably going to pass here in the next hour or so. But it was a bit of a surprise. Of course, we were having our lunch under our little canopy at the back, which meant that we stayed nice and dry. Green's just inside the camper cleaning up our lunch dishes, and then she'll be joining me up here, and then it'll be time to start heading back down the mountain. Coming down this road has been just about as exciting as going up this road. There's been lots of traffic, and that always makes a road like this really interesting. So we are back down onto the Cinnamon Pass Road. At this point, it is starting to turn into a very well-maintained gravel road. And we're about 10 miles from the highway at this point, so be done pretty soon with Cinnamon Pass and our little stops along the way.
Well, we've completed our air up procedures and we're a few miles from the highway. We'll head into Lake City, maybe see if we got some accommodations and maybe a beverage.
Okay, so this is a very windy afternoon, and we've just finished Cinnamon Pass and a bunch of the offshoots. Had a great time up there. What were your thoughts?
I enjoyed it, except for the Mineral Creek part.
Yeah, Mineral Creek was a tough slog, although I'm really proud of us. That was probably one of the hardest sustained roads that we've ever been on. We've been on roads that hard, but never that long. So
yeah, we did well. We had no mechanical problems. We took our time.
Yep.
We didn't run into any difficulties, but it was just a slow slog.
And Corinne's a great spotter, so that really helps as well. So we're going to bring this video to an end. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up.
And if you'd like to see more of our videos, you could hit the subscribe button down below. And then there's also a notification bell if you want to be notified when new videos are released.
And as always, we love hearing from you, so don't hesitate to give us a comment, thought, or an idea. Just tell us about your trip up Cinnamon Pass. We'd love to hear it. And until next time, bye for now.
Bye for now.